Well, Capricorn, May 2019, time flies like an arrow, so they say. We see here some very important transits for May 2019. Here we have the very powerful conjunction that has passed in your fifth house of love affairs, creativity and children, with Mercury and Venus, also strongly hinting at love and romance in the foreground of the horoscope. But the communication planet here, very important in terms of your working environment and your ideals, educational pursuits for those of you born under the sign of Capricorn or the rising sign of Capricorn. Educational matters may be somewhat under the hammer while Mercury is under those tough aspects. Look, and it intensifies here, mainly with the moon conveying some of the Venus energy back to Mercury, which is on its way out of your fourth house around the end of the first week of the month, making contact moon first. On the 5th, the new moon in this fifth house of love affairs and children. So that's going to be a focus of your attention over the coming weeks. This opens up your attention, your energy, and your love to these matters in your life. Most importantly, this is spontaneous creativity, which is not always listed as one of Capricorn's finest traits, being the conservative creature you are. But you'll notice that over the past few months, this entry, then exit of Uranus doing its retrograde motion in your fifth house is particularly important. Have a look why. You see that it's still influencing, maybe not any planet here because it's early degrees, and your ruling planet, Saturn, has long passed the connection with Uranus. But fifth house is your mind and the way you think about things, the way you create, the way you want to contribute in kind to life and the people around you, is influencing you very strongly at this time. And along with this new moon in the same area, again, it's not quite in the same vicinity, but it's going to be carrying this energy. The moon did pass across Uranus on the 4th and opens up the new moon on the 5th. So these are critical points, sending you strong signals about your creativity and the need to feel free in the way that you do that. Mercury also sends the same signal after the 7th when it makes contact in the same area. So a recurrent theme here, and you're going to see that when Venus, a little later in the month, also comes into this area. Strong relationship contacts here, which can cause you to be a little bit down with the moon opposite Saturn. The moon is the natural ruler of your 7th house, ruling Cancer, Saturn ruling your sun sign, both of them in opposition. And look at that opposition very near to the karmic point, the North Node. So important decisions can be made now. If you're not talking about this, you ought to be. Again, that's Mercury. And this is a perfect time to do so, where we see the sextile aspect from the moon giving some relief. So usually communication is the way, but you see how it's all happening here in the creative area. Communicating your creative feelings, creating with your partner, doing things out of the ordinary to just mix things up a little bit so you break the back of that same old. So that's, I think, good advice for you during this period. Moon in the 8th house here on the 12th is sexual in nature. That then moves up to the 10th house. You see here the sexual shared resources while the moon was moving through there for a couple of days. It's important to solve that so you can put your best foot forward here in the area of work. Here we see the square aspect to Mars. There could be some bushfires that you need to put out while Mars is in the 6th house. I've found that this planet creates a very strong, impulsive urge, especially when we see those square aspects as we're seeing, and opposition aspects as well. But for the time being, around the 18th, good social connections bring opportunities, networking with those people that you trust, and even strangers for that matter. We see the triangular aspects here. You're in step with the cultural trends, the technological trends, and you can use that Rahu or the North Node and Uranus, both signaling connections with technology and work-related issues founded on technological principles, studies associated with technology. All of these things can help you move forward very, very strongly. Mars moves to the 7th, not a good position. It brings conflicts with those you are in business. We mentioned that here in the 6th house. This has more to do with your significant partner. A slight opportunity there when the moon makes contact with retrograde Jupiter in your 12th house. So this has to do with serving others, being compassionate and understanding to avoid those conflicts. That's around the 20th, 21st. Again, another serious couple of days with the moon transiting Saturn. That again is a repeat of the earlier issues you may have had in your relationships. And there could be some obsessive quality to that, shown by the intimate conjunction with Pluto at the same time with your ruler. This could be your partner that's obsessive, deep, silent punishment for what you have or haven't done. You've got to ask about that. Don't allow these things to fester. Otherwise, that's just going to interfere with other aspects of your life, Capricorn. Second house is finances, 23, 24, and unusual communications which may border on absolute confusion here when Moon makes contact with Neptune on the 27th. That's also related to your workplace activities. See Mercury and Sun in the 6th house. This is your work. You've got a tension created here between this cultural connectivity that you've got and the people you work with. Your new ideas may not sit well, simply is what I see there. You need to be careful that you introduce your ideas systematically and in a way that allows others that you're working with or living with to acclimatize themselves to these new concepts that you have. And you're excited about that, shown by this Venus-Uranus connection. The moon pretty much finishes its transits there on the 31st in your 4th house of domesticity. Good idea to spend some quality time with the people you love on the home front in those last couple of days of the month. I hope you'll join me next month. We're going to talk more about some of these outer planets and how they're impacting on you, especially the retrogression. You can get some of that information now at astrology.com.au because I've only skimmed the surface today. And your feedback's more than welcome. Love to hear from you. Love to hear whether you're enjoying this chart wheel basis that I'm doing. When I wasn't doing it, people were complaining. When I'm doing it, some are complaining. So it's very hard to please everyone. But the more feedback I get from you, the better quality service I can provide to you. And have a great time till next month. See you then. Bye-bye.